Hello, my name is Stuart Moses. I'm the host of the Improv London Podcast. And I'm here with Julia Eckhoff, who is a guest on the Improv London Podcast.
Yes!
Specifically episode 116, which will be out on Wednesday the 10th of October. We have just finished recording our episode. How was it?
It was a lot of fun.
Good.
It was just like a chat we would have over a beer.
That's very much what I try and do. I try and sit here and I try and just pretend it's just the two of us. I mean, I make the microphone very evident. I don't try and pretend the
No, it's right there on the table.
In fact,
no secrets.
No secrets. And also, as anyone that's been on the podcast will know, I do this weird thing where I lean over and I check that it's a bit. I always warn my guests that I'm going to do this. I sort of lean over just to check that the microphone is recording because there have been a few times when it hasn't been recording, and that's been very embarrassing.
I can imagine.
So, if anybody, look, hi Holly, how you doing? It's a weird thing. I've waved, and now I'm going to also wave. Hello Sarah. It feels like this is going to interrupt. Hello Sarah. Wave. Yes. So what did we talk about on the Improv London podcast?
We talked about my duos, and we talked about mime. We talked about how I got to improv. Did I forget something? We talked about warm-ups in duos, how we warm up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So listen to the podcast to find out more details.
Oh, we also talked about slam poetry.
Slam poetry, yes. Yes, you used to do slam poetry.
I did, yeah.
Can you still do it?
In German, yes. So unwatchable for this purpose.
No, I feel that we would like to see that. That's very mean of me, I do.
No, it's okay. I would also love to see that.
Cool. Well, let's wave at these people. Who's that? I don't know who he is.
Oh, cool. Look, Ed is watching.
Hi, Ed. We talked about you. Well, you talked
did.
about me.
Yeah, I talked about you.
So find out the truth by listening to episode 116 of the Improv London podcast. One thing I forgot to ask you about on the podcast was doing tech. Mm-hmm. Tell me about doing tech.
I tech at the nursery occasionally because they're evening shows. They have all this tech set up, but of course someone has to sit on the lights and play with it and switch off the light when the scene is over.
That's an important part.
Exactly. And also Ed Farger has a jam, the Yesland jam, every other Wednesday at the Miller, and I take that one too because it's nice to have a blackout even at a jam.
Definitely.
When you don't, even though the host could call the scene, it's just nice to have that little button where
it's a little bit more theatrical, a little bit more magical, a little bit like, oh, this is a real thing.
Oh, definitely. Also, when you play in a jam and you play, let's say, in an underwater world, then just having blue light.
Oh, yes.
That can feel like, okay, yeah, this is like an improv scene outside of a jam.
Yeah.
Just some atmosphere to it.
Yeah, no, I love that kind of the theatricality, but it just helps you transport the scene into make the other world you're creating a little bit more real. So I really love that.
Yeah, and that is also for me the fun of doing tech, to have the possibility to support whatever the people are playing on stage, and then even sometimes when that is something the players would like to do or would like to have to play music, like this this sound carpet like music, some kind of atmospheric music that would then add up to the scene, to the set.
No, I love that when you use either lights or sound or music, and it just helps, it transports the improviser to maybe places that they might not have thought of originally.
Yeah.
And just helps you, especially when you've seen a lot of improv. When you've seen a lot of improv, you tend to see a lot of the same sort of scenes. Whereas, some interesting lights or some music can just take you in a different direction. So, yeah, I'm a really big fan of that.
Yeah. And it's just, everyone can do it. Everyone can do tech. You just have to be willing to do it.
Yeah, and I think everybody should, even if they don't want to. I think it's just really useful if you're going to be a performer to find out what happens on stage. Off stage, because I found that doing tech has really helped me with my editing skills, and it just kind of
interesting.
It makes you. I think it makes you a more rounded performer. So.
Maybe, I don't know, because I don't have a counter experience of not doing tech. I started quite early on.
Oh, right, yeah.
Also doing tech when I lived in Germany, because there was a group I got friends with quite early after I started improv, and they needed a person on tech. So I thought, well, if you teach me, then no problem. Of course I will help. So that was always part of it, and it always felt a little bit like some kind of handshake, because you take my set, I take your set, because it is nice to have someone on the lights, even though you can run over and switch off the light at the end of your set. It's probably not what you want to do. No, definitely not. So Ed says, "Hey guys," and then "Awesome, I love being spoken about." And now we're speaking about him again. That might be true.
James is watching. Hello, James. James is a regular viewer. I encourage regular viewers. If anybody watching has any questions that you would like to ask us, we will endeavour to ask them. Or any requests. We've had requests before. Not making any promises. Do send them our way. Cool. Right. I have a few questions that have been previously asked.
Cool.
And I wrote them down, and then I changed the page, and now I don't know where they are. Here we are. So this is a question from Andrew Gentili. Do you know Andrew?
I do, yes.
That was not the question.
Okay. I answered it nonetheless.
This was the question. Have you ever melted something that was not edible?
Like melted in the sense, did I eat it afterwards?
No, I don't think so. I think it's anything that isn't edible that you melted.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because I studied chemistry, and by PhD I'm a biochemist, so I worked in a lab a lot, and I melted a lot of different plastic labware. That just you get a little bit too close to the to the Bunsen burner, or you put something in an autoclaving apparatus.
Is that the one that spins around? No, that's
a centrifuge.
That is a centrifuge.
The autoclave is something where you would sterilize your glassware.
Yeah.
So when you leave the plastic cap on, it just melts on it, and you can throw it away, or you can store it in your lab as a negative example for the students you teach. I did both, because at some point you just can't stock any more of your ruined glassware and plasticware. And one thing, maybe that wasn't melted, but I once tried to dry my socks in a microwave.
Oh really?
Yeah.
I've heard that people do that.
By the way,
don't do it.
Better not do it. That was in the soup, or rather in the coffee area of one of the institutes I worked in, and it was because I had woolen socks. I just thought, these are damp, and if I just put them in the microwave for a little bit, that would be all right. Turns out, make sure they are completely damp, because if you have one dry spot, that will just burst into flames, and everyone will smell it like when you burn a hair on a stove that wasn't melted, but it just burst into flames, and then I just put it in the bin and just left the kitchen because everyone would smell it, and then you just, I don't know where that smell comes from. I guess we should all go outside. That was, and it's twice as embarrassing when you're a studied chemist. There should be things you just don't do. Turns out that doesn't work that way.
Also, my tip for microwaving technique is always put it on for less than you think, and then you can always microwave it for longer. Whereas if you put in for longer, I don't know how long. I don't know. I still think the microwaving socks thing is a bad idea. But if you are going to do it, no.
Yeah, that's a very smart thing to do.
I mean, if you're going to do something stupid, at least do it in a smart way. That would be my advice.
I like it. If you do something stupid, do it smart.
Do it in a smart way. Or if you do something smart, do it in a stupid way.
Oh.
Wise. Do you find being a scientist means you improvise in a different way?
I can't tell because
I was just going to say
scientist.
that, so you don't know how they are.
I think there are just some things where I can't get my my head around if they are scientifically incorrect.
Oh,
so then I just have to I have to grab my arm or my wrist and no, it's completely okay not to get that right, or we don't have to talk about this at all because we can just assume that nature works that way.
Yes.
So that is something where I just have to rein that in because no one wants to hear a scientific story. Not even in a scientific seminar at the university when someone just brags on about their own research, but definitely not in an improv set or being lectured on stage. That's not fun. It's like that number one thing how you can end a party conversation. But let me talk about it. Science, I love it. So yeah. That said, I think I have a rather analytical mind. So I'm enjoying taking things apart, like the mechanisms of I do that, then you do this, or you do this, and you will evoke this and that reaction in the audience.
Wow.
So I enjoy this kind of data, also secondary data you get out of watching improv, and just look around you and say, oh my god, I can't believe the people reacted in that way.
So you're able to do that while you're performing?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Or rather, I'm not able to not do that because my head works like that all the time.
Wow, I'd love to have the spare brain capacity to be able to step out of the scene and to be able to analyse how the scene works.
It is a lot of fun, and I'm really enjoying that. Like it also, as I said, also when I watch something, on the one hand, I enjoy that, and on a different level, my scientist brain just think, oh my god, secondary data. Listening to how people would react, or then also how I react, and if I start crying, I think, oh my god, that's brilliant. Okay, how did they do it? Yeah.
I mean, I can do that when I'm watching. If I'm in the audience, then I'm able to enjoy it simultaneously. It's probably not the different sides of the brains, but I can enjoy it as a story, as a fiction. But there is also a part of me going, oh yes, I can see what they did there. That was very good. Yes, I enjoyed that. They did that, and then that happened. Brilliant. Well done. So yes, well done. I mean, I might not express it, but in my head.
No, I know what you mean. Yeah.
But I'm not able to do that when I'm on stage. I
don't know how it works. I think I just can't shut it off because my brain always does that in any situation.
I wonder if I carry on improvising, I will get better at that, because I know when I started I was very much using all my ability to, you know, listen to the other person and sort of think what I was going to say and think about my physicality. And I've got to the stage where I'm able to improvise with less conscious thought than that. So now if I'm in a jam, I'm able to also be aware of the other people in the jam, and if somebody hasn't been in the jam, be aware of that and then try and bring them in, which I'm really love to try and do. So maybe if I carry on, I'll get better. I'll develop more brain power. I don't know.
I think that could be right, because are you driving? Do you know how to drive a car?
No, I don't know.
When I just got my driver's license and I was driving for the first time on my own, without a driving instructor next to me, without anyone sitting next to me, I thought, that is terrible. This is a horrible, horrible situation, because I had this like tunnel vision. You know, I only saw what was exactly in front of me. And I just drove thinking, okay, we're all gonna die. I'm sorry, people. I'm sorry. I shouldn't be in this car. This is terrible. And at the same time, I knew that I would have to, that this was just something, you know, where you have to fully concentrate on this task at hand, because there are so many things you have to keep in mind. And it worked as I anticipated, that the more often I would be in a car on my own, figuring it out, the more confident I got. And then at some point, you have also brain capacity for something else, like having a conversation with the person sitting next to you in the car. So I think what you said, that the longer you improvise, the more brain capacity you have for other things. It could be a pretty good theory.
Cool. Well, I will test that out by carrying on improvising and seeing whether that happens or not. Do give us any of your questions or comments or requests. We've had one from Ed. Would you like to read it out?
Here's a question that I'm stealing from the Non Sequitur podcast. If you were the patron saint of something, what would it be?
Do you listen to the Non Sequitur podcast? I've not heard of the Non Sequitur
No,
podcast.
me neither.
Oh, well.
No, maybe.
I mean, I imagine there's lots of things that don't follow on from each other. That's just the meaning of Non Sequitur. I realise that now.
So a patron saint of something, what would it be? So patron saint being some kind, like...
So you might be the patron saint of hopeless causes, or loose women, or...
Great.
That sort of thing.
Okay. So patron saint of... I would be the patron saint of microwave food.
Wow.
Because I grew up with my mother would microwave everything. This whole thing. She never did it, but because her socks weren't damp, or because my siblings and I, we grew up with my mom would cook in the morning sometime, or the day before, and then we would just microwave our food. For lunch or whatever. And also, all of us like to eat super hot food, so we would sometimes go and put it in the microwave again. Right. So this whole concept of this not being a good thing was introduced to me way later in life, and that was actually what my grandparents gave each of me and my sibling for our 18th birthday.
Really?
We got a microwave. I still have my microwave because it's my microwave. It's completely useless because it has the German plug and everyone and I mean every flat here has a microwave unless they make the decision of we don't want to microwave things. But I brought that thing from Germany and I threw out a lot of stuff that might have been still useful, but I thought, don't take it with you, travel light. But that didn't keep me from bringing my microwave. So yeah, I would be the patron saint of microwave food.
That sounds brilliant.
Or maybe microwaves in general.
That sounds brilliant. Yeah, I think that's probably better, because if you're the patron saint of microwave food, it's sort of like the microwave food's going, I pray to the patron saint of microwave food not to let me be eaten.
Oh gosh, yeah, that's true.
Whereas if you're the patron saint of microwaves, I think that gives you, that's a broader remit.
That
might
true.
be.
Yeah, I'll go for that. You're right.
Cool. I don't want to,
No, but I like your idea. I like it much better than mine.
I mean, you be the patron saint of whoever you want to be. I mean, that's very much, that's very much up to you. Thank you, Ed, for that question. And we must check out the Non Sequitur podcast. I don't know why I'm plugging it, because I've never listened to it.
Me neither.
If you have any podcasts that you recommend us listen to, keep it to yourself. I can't cope with the competition. Cool. If you've got any more questions, do send them our way. I should say hi to Bryn. We talk about you, Bryn, in episode 116. So listen out to that. I know he's going to listen anyway. I hope he's listening anyway.
Aww.
Now it's awkward, isn't it? I've made it awkward. I apologise. Reassure me you listen. Because we've got something in common.
Right, with the second duo partner, or the first duo partner. No, you're the first duo partner, and I'm the second duo partner of Bryn's duo partner.
Yes.
This only makes sense for the two of us and two other people.
So Bryn is in the Ed and Bryn festival with Ed. And you are in Dudes with Ed.
Exactly.
So I'm sure there's probably a phrase for that. Anyway, hello. This is a question from Nathan Keats. Mm-hmm. Do you know Nathan?
Not in person, no.
That's not the question.
Okay.
When were you last so rained on that you were disgusted and upset?
Never. Because rain like water coming down from the sky. No, because I grew up in northern Germany. And I once read that, I read that somewhere. That is not true, but northern German people have a neoprene skin.
Right.
Because it's a very, very rainy area.
Right, okay.
And we don't even bother with umbrellas because it's also very windy. Every umbrella becomes a one-time use item because it would just go in the opposite direction and become this like flower-shaped thing that isn't good for anything. So I got when I get into the rain, then that is just what happens. And then I just hope it's not on the way to work, but on the way back. Also, I usually have rain trousers on because I cycle everywhere.
Right, okay.
And then getting in bad weather is just something you have to deal with. But if you have the right clothes on, then that's no problem at all.
Cool.
There is a northern German saying, in direct translation it would be, there is no wrong weather, there are just wrong clothes, which isn't true at all. There is something like wrong weather. And it's not, of course, it's not nice being soaked. But I do understand that if that happens, it's completely my fault.
Right, okay, fair enough. Bryn says, same goes for North Wales. Presume we're talking about the wind and the rain there.
I can imagine, yeah.
Have I told you I haven't told you my umbrella theory.
No.
So, it doesn't work in windy and rainy places, but if you are the sort of person who loses their umbrellas, you want to buy cheaper umbrellas. But if you're the sort of person whose umbrellas break, you want to buy more expensive umbrellas. Depends how you lose your umbrellas. Do you lose them or do they get broken?
Oh.
But this is irrelevant to you because you have waterproof trousers.
That is, yeah, also cycling with an umbrella is something I just can't navigate.
Yeah, no, that's
no.
that would be silly.
Well, I mean, people, I have a road bike, that is the problem, and on that you always sit a little bit like a monkey on a tiny little tumbling stone, but I don't know, I haven't seen it here, but in Germany, people who would cycle on these Dutch bikes and anything where you can sit up, they would cycle with an umbrella.
Really?
I'm not convinced it works because you have some wind. Yeah, exactly.
Because of science.
Yeah, because science. But it definitely keeps the water from your head. So maybe that's the idea.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I couldn't coordinate that if I have to cycle like this. I would be a danger for myself and others.
That sounds very dangerous. So let's not do that. That sounds very dangerous. Cool. We have a question from Amy Cook-Hodgson. Do you know Amy?
Yes, I saw her in the long weekend.
Ah, what's the long weekend?
That was with Unmade Theatre.
Oh, yes.
And Ed was in it. That's where, and I tagged their shows.
Ah, brilliant.
When they had their run here at the nursery. So I know her from that, but not in person, just in hello, and
That's good.
Switch off the light when you are done. Basically that.
That's a useful thing to do. I didn't see the long weekend. I would have liked to have seen it. I saw the one before that, the name of which I've forgotten.
I don't.
No, fair enough. If anyone's watching, remind me what they were called. Sonder at that point, and it was really good. It was kind of a mythic thing, and they started off with sort of a myth from that world, and then they played scenes based on the myth.
Oh, terrific!
It was very good, very good.
I can imagine.
Recommend it. We can't see it now.
Yeah, exactly.
If you could travel into the past, Bryn, if you're using the time machine this weekend, do check out Unmade Theatre if you didn't see it at the time. So Amy asks, elephants don't forget.
Yeah.
So which memory in your memory bank would you never like to forget?
Oh, which memory in my memory?
Never folk. Sorry. Never folk. Thank you, Ed. Never folk.
Good.
Can you just hang around and just fill in the gaps of my memory?
That would be amazing.
That would be really helpful. I mean, never folk.
When I when I grew up, because I was usually the tallest person in the class, and people usually thought, no, she's fine. She doesn't need support. When she's upset, just let her, leave her on her own. She will figure it out.
Because you were tall.
And because I always was a rather confident person. But it's nice to just have some support, right? To have someone when you're not well, to just go like, just sit with you there for a little bit, right? And when I was between, at that time in Germany, between 6th grade and 7th grade, you would switch to a different school. And I just started 7th grade. And in the first few days, I befriended this girl who's called Sandra. And Sandra, because, she's half English, but her name is spelled in German. Sandra. So when so then at some point, within the first few weeks, for some reason, I don't remember why, but I was, during the break, I was somehow upset, and I just thought, okay, shit, I have to, I have to compose myself. I will just run out and find a space for my own. And I just ran out from, because we were inside of the classroom during the break. I guess it was raining. There we are. And I just ran out, and usually no one would follow me because she's fine. She can figure it out. And she immediately ran after me, and then just stood there a little bit with me. And I was silent because I wasn't used to share my thought, but she just stood there with me. And that she's still my best friend.
Oh, that's really lovely.
Yeah, from age 12 till now, age 31, we're best friends. She's closer to me, or she's as close to me as my siblings.
Wow, that's really lovely.
Yeah, and I never ever want to forget that moment.
No, that's really lovely. I find it strange that people would assume because I suppose if you were confident and tall, then I don't know. It's weird. I did a workshop with Stephen Davidson, who we discuss in the podcast, episode 116 of the Improv London Podcast, out on Wednesday, 10th of October, which we've just recorded. Was that seamless? I think that was seamless. So I did his play like slick. It would have been slicker if I hadn't pointed it out. No, it wouldn't.
No one noticed.
No one noticed. So I did his play like an ally workshop on Sunday, which was absolutely amazing, really, really great. And I think it was Vic Hogg from Duck Duck Goose who we were talking about jams and looking out for other people and making sure they're okay. And I think it was Vic said that it's about reading the room, but it's also about reading the room as it actually is, and not just sort of thinking, oh, that person, they're normally confident, they're going to be all right. Because you don't know, you don't know the week they've had, or the month they had, or the year they're having. So it's all about, just sort of being aware and actually, not taking things for granted and stuff like that. So that's just what that reminded me of.
Yeah, absolutely. And no one can do anything to or against what they look like, right? And also, if I look at a person, I might get a different picture than someone else, and so my assumptions I would project on someone can be completely wrong. So yeah, I think that's a very good point. Yeah.
So yes. Cool. Right. Does anybody have any final questions before we wrap up? We're gonna sit here. But just in awkward silence, maybe. See, I was about to say how comfortable I was with the silence, and then I realized, breaking the silence to say that.
Oh, yeah, then just...
Very funny, Martin. Martin says my picture is frozen.
And William says not awkward enough.
Yeah, Bryn said so awkward. Right, well, in that case...
I think we nailed that.
Yeah, I think we nailed that. That was pretty good. That was pretty good. So that's a little bit of theatre there for you. Take that, do that on stage if you want to be like us. Right, yes. So let's wrap up. Let's say thank you to the nursery for letting us record here. Thank you for Robin for letting us use your office. thank you for being a guest on the Improv London podcast.
And thank you for having me.
Yay! Right, well, we'll say goodbye now.